So you want to get back into movement, but every time you try, something bad happens. So maybe you injure yourself. Most of my clients, when they've tried to get back into movement after not moving for a while, they get sick. They go too hard and then they can't train for like a whole another week. I used to always get kidney infections, so I try to ramp up my training a little bit because my body, being a mesomorph, responds really well to training. So yes, we all know that you need to eat right and that sort of thing. But if I train strong and put some intensity in there, I carve up really quick. And I really want that to happen. But the reality is I've got kidneys that struggle. And when I train at that level, it puts pressure on my kidneys. The lactic acid increase in my body. Acid is bad for kidneys, blah, blah, blah. So I would get sick. And a lot of people, you probably know, you get urine infections from having sex if you don't like do all the right things, like wash everything, go to the toilet after, have cranberry juice, bow to the moon and skip 3 times on one foot. I don't know. But I would get really sick all the time, that I actually became scared of sex. I don't know if you're allowed to say that on the internet. And then when I was getting sick without even having it, because I was single and I was training, I was just like, what the actual heck? And I was putting pressure on my body. So this video is about how to return to fitness in a way that actually will work, and what things you need to look out for, how to prepare. I'm going to try to keep it brief and maybe make it as a little series, or if you've got questions, you can ask me and I'll answer them, because I have a tendency to do like a miniature TED talk every time I open my mouth about something I'm passionate about. So some things to consider is, how long has it been? So in terms of training consistently, so maybe you've trained and you tried a few times in the last couple of years, but it's just not worked. How long has it really been? For me, the way I used to train, it's probably been quite a few years. I train pretty consistently now, but let's say it's 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. So then you need to make a plan and work out your goals. And I've got some tools to help you with that. In my free giveaway thing. It's free at the moment. I plan on selling it as like a 28-day course, but I'd love some people to try it for free, give me some feedback and stuff. But anyway, you're here now. So if this is on YouTube, you can sign up for it if it's free still. And if it's not free still, you can pay like the small amount that I'm sure it will be, because it's just a 28-day course. Anyway, you need to make a plan. I've got tools for that. I'm going to see if I can show you really quickly, so you can see what I'm sharing. So what this is a plan. So I'm not going to go on and on about it, but if you were to download it and have a look, or have a look really, really closely now, you'll see that I've suggested doing the workout maybe half a time or one time for a week. Alternating days, you'll pay attention to how you feel. Do you need to step back a little bit? You're fine, you can go forward a little bit. And so this workout presumes that you're feeling okay and that you titrate and take little steps the whole way. There's notes on the other column with some prompters from me, and there's space for you to write how you feel. So the reality is, if you have been in burnout, or every time you come back to training you get sick, you need to make a plan, and it needs to be really easy. And if you think about it, let's say you haven't trained properly for years and you just steadily putting weight on. Well, taking it slow with a plan like this is better than not training, right? So you might be like, but I want to lose weight now, or I want to be pain-free, or I want to be able to play properly, I miss hiking, all those kinds of things. Okay, but have you been able to do that for the last year or two? So I know you want it, and you want it now, and especially us ND folk, I've got ADHD and complex PTSD. I just want it now. I want what I want now. And there's no like quick gratification, whatever that's called, when it's a long plan. What I like about doing printables is like literally a lot of my clients don't like apps. They're like, nope, don't like tech. They're my age, I'm 45. I've had to use tech to be able to run my businesses. But they just want something you can print, put on the fridge and tick it off. Well, guess what's good about that? It gives you a little dopamine hit, and you get the tickiness and you get the support of going internally, yeah, I did it and I ticked myself, and whoop, dopamine, happy. That's not just what it's about motivation. Now, titrating. Okay, back to it. I've got some notes here, and just some other tips, I guess. So in the little course that I've got, there's 3 workout videos. 2 of them are lying down and seated, or standing and seated, so they're quite easy on the body, and I would recommend doing those if you haven't trained or moved for a while, because you could just do it in bed, quite literally, and then lying in bed and then sit on the edge of your bed, like seriously. The active beginner one is for someone, like, let's say you get through the whole thing, you're like, I'm doing really well, I'm going to finish with a bang, week 4, do active beginner. If you know that you want to start there and you're okay to start there, you can if you want. The template that I just showed you can be adjusted as well. But what am I trying to say? You could just go, that's too overwhelming, Andrea. I'm just going to get, I wash my hair today now for some reason it's itchy. I'm just going to get the one workout. I'm just going to do it for a whole month. That's okay. Or you can follow the plan that I've made for you. And a lot of people know. I was talking with a friend about this the other day because I had a client recently who I felt like whenever I gave her information, and this has happened a few times, so I'm not picking on anyone, just this one made me particularly curious. I was like, why do people pay me literally to give them advice? And then when I do, they're like, no, I already know that. Or, yeah, I know. And it's like, so what I realized is it's kind of embarrassing. Like, you know all this stuff. I know all this stuff. And my friend and I unpacked it. And she said, because I said, I bet you know all this stuff too. We went to fucking gym together for ages. We studied fitness together, for crying out loud. And she said, I think that at our age with kids and working and everything else, you just need a path to follow. Just like you've got this whirlwind of information. If you could see my walls, you'd know what my brain is like. That's what it looks like. But someone just needs to pop it in a path to follow. And that's what I'm good at for people. So we can start with movement. Usually movement inspires you to start to want to eat well and improve your eating. So we sort of take it in a step-by-step order if you were to work with me long term. Now, there's some other things to consider. What are the next notes? So titration is about taking it easy, like really easy. Now, there's a couple of other things, like a lot of people get really excited and they just go and join a gym, which I did recently, and I promptly hurt my leg, not at the gym. But anyway, that's another story. And one of the questions I asked them, because I'm recovering from burnout, and I explained this to them, is, am I allowed to leave classes early? How do I organize that? Because that's what I will be doing. I'm not staying for a 55-minute spin class. I don't care that there's a warm-up and a cool-down. That's way too much for someone in burnout. And I might make a note of that as to explain why in another video properly. But basically, you're pushing yourself too hard. Your heart rate is going up into zone 4, 5, if there is a 5. I don't even know at the minute. I'm a PT, but, I forget things. The high zones, you don't want it up there. You need to stay in zone 2 steadily while you're recovering from burnout. You can head up to the end of zone 2, come back, pay attention over the next few days to see how you feel. Now, someone like me, my body responds really well to intense training, like high intensity. You're only meant to do HIIT, high intensity interval training, for about 12 minutes maximum. Otherwise, it cuts. Depends what your goals are and what your size is and all that sort of stuff. But if you're in burnout, you don't do more than 12. It causes muscle depletion, and you can use that deliberately. Like right now, I'm just over 90 kilos, and I have a whole person of muscle in me. I've got like 51 or 52 kilos of muscle in me. And when I was at my peak fitness, I was just 60 kilos of human. And right now I feel like I'm almost an entire human of muscle. So I actually do need to deplete my muscle mass a little bit, as well as activate it and keep it nice and strong by doing different kinds of strength training. So you can strategically use high intensity interval training, but you don't want to overdo it or you'll slip and fall asleep for like 2 days. So that's one thing. Go and ask your gym, if you've got a membership, how to organize that so that no one's offended. And then in the little notes on this thing, I'm going to show it to you again. This one here, the notes, feelings, changes, pain. So that's where I want you to note how you're feeling. So you'll do the workout 1, i.e. lying in seated or standing in seated. Now, the next day, how do you feel? Do you feel really tired? Do you feel like you just don't want to do it again? Do you feel energized? Like, what do you feel? Write it down and then do it again and write it down again how you feel. So that's what the intention of that is, and anything else you like. Now, if you can hear noises, my dog, he loves hiding under a little table. And then the next thing is, it's not just the workout that's going to affect you. So you might be lethargic before even starting a workout. And honestly, in my life, and I know this is true for lots of people, if you start moving, you get more energy. And it's like a weird thing. Like, there's science behind it. I'm not going to get into that right now. But I remember being really exhausted when I was younger and having the capacity to go, okay, I'm going to go for a bike ride, and then I'll know that I'll feel better, and then I'll have the capacity to do the things that I want to do. At 45, I'll admit that's a bit hard. So training definitely helps you feel good, helps you feel proud of yourself, helps you get stronger, helps you have more capacity. But we do need to make sure that we're getting the basics of the other stuff and things. So we need enough food, we need the right food, we need the right food at the right time. We need to make sure we're getting enough sleep. And there's, in the courses that I run, I teach people how to hack that a little bit. I'm a big hormone hacker. I love it. I love learning from scientists and applying that knowledge to myself and my work with my clients. Then there's other stresses like unhealthy work and unhealthy relationships. And I know sometimes we have to make a decision from a survival point of view. Well, it feels like we do, and sometimes we do. I need to stay in this situation because I need the money or I'll be homeless, right? That is a reality for a lot of people in this day and age. But we also don't want to sit there in our shit and stay in that bad job or stay with that shitty housemate for 6 months. We want to actually go, okay, I need to be proactive and make some kind of clear pathway to get out of it. If it's an unhealthy relationship, how can you draw some lines in the sand and create like a list of what you really want in a relationship and start to observe pros and cons, create a secret list, set a time frame to go, you know what, I'm done. Because sometimes we're exhausted. There's a saying, I'm probably not going to get it right, but it's along the lines of, before you diagnose yourself with depression or anxiety, make sure that in fact you're not surrounded by assholes. So assholes are people, but also jobs and funding. So like I've worked in various government jobs and things like that. And like, let's say you're working for the NDIS and maybe you're a support coordinator or you're a support worker, anything, any of those jobs will feel for many people like they're at risk because the money could just get pulled. A lot of government funding is like that. And it used to make me feel really unsafe. And I thought that running my own business was a better idea. I'm not sure which, 50-50. I think I like a 50-50 life. And it could be that, I've been a support worker and I've had some actual asshole clients who abuse power. Like these people are in charge of a lot of money and they have a lot of power and a lot of control over people's life. And you bet some of them take that choice and control to the nth degree. So I've chosen to quit jobs and I've quitted them. I've quit them quite swiftly when I've gone, you know what, my mental health is suffering. I'm going to get some more money somewhere else, some other way, set that up and jump ship. So if you're fatigued, it's not, and you're sore, there's lots of reasons for it. There are some other topics I wanted to talk about, which is how unhealed trauma shows up, and how we deal with that. I'm not the expert on that. I'm going to share a tiny bit about what I know from a course I've been doing and learning. And these people that I'm learning from, this is their 16th round. It's Irene Lyons, Smart Body, Smart Mind. And they've actually done the university study, scientific thingy, what's it, peer review, blah, 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 and are going to continue because they're getting really amazing results, including for people who have autoimmune disease, endometriosis, nightmares, alcohol addiction. It's really, really hopeful. So trauma can show up in the body in the form of, like, I firmly believe that fibromyalgia is trauma stored in the body. Like I've had multiple people say to me, I think you have fibromyalgia. I'm like, yeah, I think that's the name that they give things they don't understand. I think it's trauma stored in the body. And you know that because it flares up when you get triggered or the same kind of thing comes up in your life or a new stressor comes up. So the place where I sit in the trauma recovery, nervous system recovery space is not trauma recovery because I'm not a therapist. I sit in the space of helping you build capacity in your body to nurture it, to hold the things. So I'm going to have to make another video on this because this is getting really long. How to create capacity. So we create capacity, which means the ability to hold things. So I had someone recently, it was actually a housemate, I don't care if he sees this, and he kept poking me and he was doing it deliberately. He knew what my boundaries were and he would, if he felt like I was pulling him into line for not keeping his word, not pulling his weight, he would actually punish me by poking me. Now I chose to let him stay because I tried to kick him up before. It was really hard and I didn't actually feel that safe. And there was a time frame on it, like he was 100% moving out at a finite point in time. Now, before I started my nervous system recovery work, I would have just been so reactive that I would have gone off my chops. I did raise my voice at him once, months and months ago, and it was constant pushing. It was daily pushing. I literally emailed this guy and said, can you please not interrupt me when I'm working? I have ADHD. You need to just pretend I'm not here. We had that chat when he first moved in. I was like, dude, I run my business from home. You need to just pretend I'm not here. I'm at work. I explained why very politely. He literally just kept pushing and pushing. Now, anyway, when I realized this was happening again, I just sort of stepped back. I went, okay, I can breathe. I can give myself some TLC and I can nurture myself through this and I can hold it. Now, because I've been building capacity, I could actually hold that a little bit. Now, I don't recommend holding that for long or not communicating, but if you're not safe and you know there's a finite time, you can hold it. It's like, let's say, I'm just going to give some other examples. Like maybe a year ago, I might have just verbally abused somebody when I was having a bad day for something with road rage or driving. I'm not proud of being someone who can explode, but I have complex PTSD and I can be reactive. So I didn't have the capacity to hold anything. Irene Lyons explains like there's a swimming pool. The swimming pool is full of all these really big balls. I don't know if the pool has water. That's my neurodivergence going, how does the swimming pool work? But the pool is full of balls. And if you throw another ball in that, it's just going to like bounce back out or make some of the others spill out. And that's when we get angry or upset and we get triggered and those kinds of things. We have those freeze, fawn, fight, flight reactions. So like all the balls are stacked in there really, really tight. That's my dog. Creating capacity means, she explains it like making the swimming pool a bit bigger so the balls have more space around them. Now the work is, if a new ball comes in, we want to get the stress of that ball out real quick. So on the day, do what you need to do to process the stress. Some of the stuff that I deal with, teach, helps you with that. And then you want, by the swimming pool becoming bigger, because you've made space in your body is the swimming pool, and you've made space in your joints, in your energy, in your heart, in your organs, just by relaxing instead of being tight all the time. Then the balls sort of have more space around them, which then gives you the capacity to go and do the trauma work, where you can go and get the ball out and have a look at it and process what that ball is, whatever trauma that is, so you can get it out of the pool. That's not my job. That's somebody else's job, and I'll definitely be able to work with people and point them in the right direction of where to get that help. But I really enjoy the part that I'm involved in, which is that creating capacity. So you create capacity by the right food, the right sleep, movement, somatic practices that create capacity, that don't deal with unraveling trauma. So why do I talk about that? Because movement isn't the only piece of the puzzle. For me, I think it's an important first piece. It depends on where you're at. Like if you really can't move, I'm going to see if I can show you something else. I'm going to press share. I have in my Google Drive course. So this is the course, Return to Movement. This is what she's first. This is video I'm making. Is going to go in there. There's an intro video in there already. There are tools. So in here you pick the planner. I've said try this one first. These ones are blank for you to do your own. Habit tracker, they're optional. Some people really like ticking and colouring in. I'm one of those people. We have workout videos. They're the 3 videos that I've told you about. And there's some older versions in there as well, just if you want extra. This one here, somatic self-care and restoration. So let's say you're like, I can't move. I don't want to do this challenge. I can't train. I know I can't train. I'm too sore. I encourage you to watch the videos, starting to build the neural pathways by watching and imagining and thinking, oh, maybe I can do that one. You could write your own little workout plan going, oh, yeah, I could do that one lying on my bed, and I could do that one lying on my bed, and that's not so hard. I'll just try 5 of each and see how I go. That's something you could do. But if you can't do those, you can do these. So these ones here are little exercises. So 16 minutes, making space for joints is a capacity building one. These ones are really good for tight hips. Like I rely on this hip release. I have a lot of hip pain and it actually helps a lot. and this mini kidney adrenal scan. I'm filming a longer one today, but this is like a prompter. So you'll do the longer one and then be like, I really think that's a good idea for me to do right now. But maybe you don't have half an hour to do it. You can listen to the 4-minute one and go, oh, that's right, that's a prompter. Now I know what to do. So if you can't get moving, you can get capacity creating by making space. So that's pretty much it. I know I'm on the right path after 10 years of therapy and burnout and making some crappy decisions because I was in functional freeze, and I'll make a video about that another day. In short, the way I describe it is that we've been pretending that we're okay our whole lives. So I went through a lot of childhood trauma from a really young age. And then I went from that into more childhood trauma because I was a child in my first major relationship. And then had a break and had some therapy. Thought therapy just magically made you okay, and had a marriage that was not very healthy either. And it's just like I went from, even though I had breaks and got to hang out with my son for extended years at a time, in those years, I was like, I had 2 jobs and I was working my ass off to make sure that me and my child were okay. Primarily him. I didn't want him to have anything remotely resembling the life that I had. So basically, I never got to heal, and I remember him being younger and having a meltdown one day and going, all this stuff that's happened is inside of me and I can't get it out, and I don't know how to get it out. And one day it's going to come out sideways and I don't know if I'm going to survive it. So functional freeze is like all of that is in you. And so you just hold it all in really tight and, I don't know, cross your fingers and hope for the best. But you basically pretend you're okay. And meanwhile, your body is tight. Like your muscles are tight, your joints are tight, everything is tight and everything hurts. After years of holding it all in and pretending to be okay, you hurt. And there's lots of scientific explanations as to why. I'll do some videos on those another day about things that I've learned. But the crux of it is that's where a lot of our health issues come from. And a lot of people are talking about that now, including Irene Lyon, Dr. Gabor Mate, and other people like that. So I'm really grateful to have found this stuff. So movement is part of the puzzle. As a personal trainer, I can help people find a path for their eating, coaching in regards to sleep. I can get you started on those things. And then if you're really struggling and the things I've learned and experienced don't help, then you'd go to your GP or naturopath, whatever works for you. I'll do a video on the things that have worked for me another time. So just to recap, we want to start moving. Moving inspires other things. Movement creates movement in other areas. We want to put some diligent work into our sleep, and some of the things that I provide in the little course. So we've got all this stuff, which I think I've showed you before, but this somatic and restoration stuff, these kidney and adrenal ones just put people to sleep. I do them at the end of some classes and everyone's like, oh my God, I just want to go to sleep. So if you have trouble sleeping, there are things that will be able to help you with what I provide. So food, sleep, some other hacks that I can help people with in terms of starting to create that capacity so that you can have some hope and start titrating towards more meaningful movement for your older age. So we don't want to stay at this level of movement forever, but for many of us, that's where we're at, and that's where we've got to be for a while. And doing some of these other practices and integrating them into our life. Later, we do want to increase intensity. We do want to do a bit of high intensity interval stuff for our muscles and our brain. We do want to do some strength training to improve I've got a fly in here, our muscle density, our bone density, our muscle capacity. There's lots of reasons we want to keep training. I'm an advocate of training till we die. So it's about being healthy. It's about our brain functioning and being its optimum for as long as it can be. It's about being happy. Obviously, sometimes we're not happy, and that's part of life. But yeah. So any questions, please let me know. I hope that answers some questions about titration in training, taking it slow, returning to movement. I hope it gives you some hope. If you want to try the little course for free right now, it is the 30th of December, 2024. I'm planning on keeping it free till about the 25th of January. People can do it together, whatever. Comment. I can give you bits and pieces of it even. I can give you the workout plan. reach out to me, comment. If you want the free thing though, between now and the end of December, just comment return, and I will send you the first little bit to get you started, and then that will open up access to all of the things. Thanks for listening. Bye.